Hey guys, welcome back to Prepping in Progress. I'm Steve,
I'm Gerard.
and today we're just going to sit down and kind of talk a little bit about prepping, why we prep, and where we are in our headspace.
Because I think it's very important to think about the mental aspects of prepping and where it's going to take you.
So stay with us. So, get me started. You said some interesting stuff in one of our other videos about where we're coming from. What's your biggest concern?
In all the prepping literature, in all the doomer porn, stuff like that, everybody talks about what it's like to take that moment and you're pushing the envelope. Let's say you have to defend yourself with a gun or with a knife or with some sort of weapon. Everybody talks about getting there. Nobody talks about the aftermath. And I think it would be wise of us to discuss that to know what you're getting into.
And I don't have quite the frame of reference with it that Gerard does, but I will address it from the point of view of an EMT who has lost people and has felt responsible for it. What do you, I don't know how to ask it without feeling indelicate.
The biggest part is the adrenaline rush. You're going to have a huge surge of adrenaline as you're going through it, and it's going to probably be the biggest high you've ever had. You're going to be, oh, I love this in your head. You're going to be thinking you're John Wick or whatever. With the aftermath, if you've never dealt with it before, it's going to be the biggest drop you've ever had. And you're going to want to throw up. You're going to want to piss your pants. And you're going to feel like you're going through slow motion and really fast at the same time. So it's not like the books. It's not like the movies. Time slows down, but the surge of hormones and chemicals in your brain do a number on you that you have to be psychologically ready for, or it can really mess with you.
Now, I have a question. In the moment where you're taking the action that is needed, did you find that when all those chemicals are dumping into your brain, you were thinking clearly, or was there some fuzz as to what was going on?
You, I personally had a lot of tunnel vision.
Okay.
I remember looking at things and remembering that they moved a lot slower than I remembered. And it seemed like time had slowed down. And I could make out fine details. It narrows vision, but also improves your detail.
Okay.
But it also forces your training to kick in.
Okay.
So that old adage of sweat more in training, bleed less in war, is because the more you train, the more the training takes over during that moment.
Now, at the end, and when you're coming down, Are there resources for you at the time?
In the heat of the moment, the only thing you can do is ride it out.
Okay.
You may want to throw up. You may feel like you need a little bathroom. You may feel like you're going to be sick. Every person's different. It just depends on their physiological makeup. So what happened to me may not have happened to you. You may not have a huge adrenaline dump because you're an adrenaline junkie, or you could be a computer keyboard person and it's the greatest thrill you've ever had. So it just depends on you and your situation. Be in mind, I trained for 3 years prior to us going into Iraq. I trained on CQB, which is house clearing. I trained on helicopter assault. I trained on hard attack versus soft attack. I had the years of training and it still did that to me.
Okay.
And I think not a lot of people talk about that because either they become numb to it or they're afraid to talk about it because they don't want to get in the mental aspect of it.
Well, that and readers of books don't want to deal with that.
Right.
I mean, I've got to give Glenn Tate credit in his 299 Days series books in the second one, when he actually shoots someone at the roadblock. There are several paragraphs of dealing with it, but that's one of the rare books that actually delves in any kind of depth or brings it up in later books.
Right. And you also have to be aware that it's going to cause you to rethink about the incident. You're going to go over it hundreds of times thinking you could have done something differently, thinking you should have reacted differently. Even if you did everything perfect, textbook, you're going to question yourself hundreds of times as you replay it. Something will trigger you and you will, I hate to use that term because it's been so bastardized, but it will trigger you to make you think about that moment, and you're going to relive that moment in a few seconds, but you're going to question whether you made the right decision. And you have to trust yourself, trust your training. And that's why you have to train. Because you can do all the best training in the world, but once bullets are flying at you and not away from you, it's a whole different ballgame.
I remember something I want to say police and society teacher told me many years ago. He said that whenever one of his officers was involved in a shooting, yes, they have to collect the firearm, but he would immediately, when he took the officer's firearm, put it in the evidence bag, he would remove his and give the officer his to carry, showing him faith, showing him reassurance that yes, we trust you to carry, yes, we believe in you, yes, we believe you did everything right, here's my personal weapon. And it was just something he did with all of his men to help reassure them that they were going to be okay.
That would work. There's going to be a moment after the fact that you're going to wonder, am I crazy? used to happen to me. And you're going to wonder, could I do it? And once you do it, it's, I don't quite know the term to use it. It's, you move into a different realm of your life, and you realize just how precious life is, and it's the last thing you want to do.
I think what I'm hearing you say is, in my perspective, you're not actually the crazy one. The whole world around you has gone crazy, and you've done what you have to do. But from that point on, yeah, you've got to wonder just what in the world is going on out there, and everything changes.
Right. And you're going to question yourself over and over and over again, and people who've never been there are going to question you and call you horrible things and tell you you've done horrible things and make you question everything again and again and again. But you have to rely on your training.
Yeah. I've never been in combat. I've never been active military. We all know that I've never lied. I've been one of those operator guys. I've been an EMT, search and rescue EMT, firefighter, and from a different perspective, but very much the same. When you're in the back of the ambulance and you're in command, you're telling your partner what drugs you want, where to hang the IV solution, where you want to get the IV, and the patient still goes. Yeah, you spend days, weeks wondering if you could have done something different, if there was, and you can know clinically. The doctor can walk in and say he was dead before you ever arrived on scene. You had no idea that there was a tear in the femoral artery. You had no idea that there was this going on. There was nothing you could have done, and you're still going to question every day. And I'll tell you, 6 months, 6 years, 16 years later, you're going to wake up in the middle of the night and go, but what if I'd done? And then, no. You have to, I don't want to say put it in a box, but every time the little wrecking ball inside your brain starts playing ping pong, you have to look at it and go, no, I did everything I could. I did everything right. I did what I did for my crew, for my team. And sometimes that means, in my business, it was looking at someone and going, his odds are 1 in a million, her odds are 1 in 10. I got to work her, not him. Mm-hmm. And you triaged it out. And you sometimes chose who lived and who died.
Did that weigh on you?
Yeah. Very much so. And I remember talking to one of my supervisors, and he said the day it didn't weigh on me was the day he wanted my resignation on his desk. He said if it weighs on you, it means you're still human.
Mm-hmm. My experience is very limited. I was in the beginning of the Iraq War, from the invasion up to about the time Bush said whatever he said on the aircraft carrier. We had already been overseas for 6 months, So by that time it had been a year, so they decided that it was time for us to go stateside. I got out before Fallujah, so I cannot speak to anything afterwards. What I went through was different than what they went through. It was, in mine, in some ways broke me, in some ways made me stronger. But you have to come to grips with the fact that you're going to potentially take a human life. And that's probably the greatest sin that can be bestowed on somebody, but also the greatest challenge, because you're doing it not to end life but to save life.
Yeah.
And so those, I feel for those who no longer have that feeling. The people who've been at it for 20 years. That is just another day.
Yeah. Well, and spiritually, though, we can get into the whole argument of killing versus murder and whatnot. The thing of it is, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if this bank that collapsed in California is just a precursor to more bank problems. We don't know if the fall of Rome is going to happen in the next 4 minutes, 4 years, or 40 years. And where I'm going with this is self-protection, protection of property, life, liberty, has been with us since 1776. But that's just one element of prepping. We just discovered that the windows we got for the greenhouse, one of them has mysteriously broken, and the glass has gone where it should have fallen here, it's over here, as if someone had picked it up and moved it here. There is more to it than kidding up and running down the road with your band of brothers. There is the sustainability aspect. There is making sure that he and I can feed our wives and, well, his child. I don't have children. But we want you guys to stop and be serious for a minute, because everyone out there's got a wrecking video. Everyone out there's got cacking off rounds with the AR and the AK. Everyone out there who wants your views and your rating is out the gun range. And we may do that at some point, because we've got a few tools that need to be worked on, especially me. I need some skills, because I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
No, you ran me through hand signals and whatnot the last time you were out here, and I practiced for maybe once a week, and then life got crazy and excuses were made, and now I can't remember much of the hand signals that you taught me. So we need to drill me, work me, and unfortunately it's going to be harder for you because I didn't practice and train.
Got to start somewhere. I think the biggest difference between us and the other videos is they'll start you at level 40 because they assume you got levels 1 through 39. I don't want to assume that. I want to start you at level 1. If you got level 1, great, it's a refresher. But if you don't have level 1, level 40 is not going to make any sense to you.
And like I've said, I'm no operator. I never was, never claimed to be.
Neither am I. I'm just a regular old grunt.
But I've got a grunt, and I want the basics. I can read the Ranger Handbook all day long. I can read the Army field manual on map reading. I can read how to break down an AR. I can read how to do patrols all day long. But having someone who's been there, done that, and can show me how to walk in the woods is something I appreciate.
Sometimes reading helps, but experience helps more.
This is true.
So, if you can't do level 1 or you barely can do level 1, don't worry, we'll get you there. We'll bring you up to level 40 and you can start watching all those other videos.
There you go.
I think that's what the difference is for us. I don't want to assume you know level 31 through 39.
And especially if you're one of the nice people who has really just now seen their eyes get opened and you're behind the curve trying to get caught up to where you think you need to be. Deep breath. We'll get there together. Everything's going to be okay.
So, there are things I'm learning. There's things I'm relearning. It's been 20 years since I've been in combat. And a lot of it is perishable skills. But a lot of it is memory retention. So, you may have read it, you may have seen it, and it'll come back to you once you do it. And if you haven't seen it, you haven't done it, then it's day 1 basic training.
Let's do it. So when are you coming back out? Or am I coming to you?
You're coming to me.
Okay. Name the date. Well, period. When we get off of here, we can actually look at a calendar, pick the day, and I will be on the road.
Okay.
All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Good to see you. We're so glad you're here, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.